Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Eleanor and today I'm going to be doing a bookshelf tour for you guys. This was requested recently, and if you've seen a video I did last week or so, I did a wee rearranging of my bookshelves. That was in anticipation of doing a little tour for you guys. I hope you appreciate this video because I had to move a lot of furniture in my living room to be able to get this angle. I'm not going to show every single book on my bookshelves because we'd be here all day and no one wants to see that, and I don't want to edit that video. I'm just going to take you shelf by shelf and maybe talk about some highlights on those shelves and in general what kind of books there are here. So I hope you like this video. Please subscribe if you aren't already, and leave in the comments any other videos you're interested in seeing and I'll maybe make them. So I'll just start off by saying that these bookshelves are in my living room, and that's why I had to move some armchairs and some furniture out of the way to get this angle. I don't know if you can see just at the edge of the screen there's two other bookshelves, but they have all my sister's stuff on them, so it's only these two behind me that have my own books, so I won't be showing you any of her things. I'll just start off by saying that these bookshelves are from IKEA. They're not the standard Billy bookcase ones that you see other booktubers using. They're a slightly different style. I can't remember the name of them either. And my sister and I wanted the blue bookcases in my living room. So my sister and I picked blue wood paint, and we painstakingly painted the bookshelves, and that's like makes the theme of our living room. Is this deep blue that I love very much. I absolutely love having kind of the look of custom bookshelves, but we did it ourselves. So yes, I'll just take you shelf by shelf and talk you through some of my books. Okay, so this is the top left section of my bookshelves, and it is basically, this top shelf here is basically a shrine to Charlaine Harris. She's an author I absolutely love, and I'm slowly working my way through all of her books just now. And she's got a few different CDs here, and you can see like more than half of the shelf is Charlaine Harris. There's a couple of other books on the end, but that makes up basically most of that top shelf. This next shelf down underneath has a mixture of authors. So I have my Christina Henry on the far left, who's an author I love, and I really love Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And then moving more towards the middle, I have all my Neil Gaiman books, who is an author I very much love and would highly, highly recommend. And then more to the left, I have my Terry Pratchett. So that's mostly what makes up that shelf. We're now at the top right two shelves, and I don't think you see these very often in my videos because of the angle I film at, because when I'm just filming my normal videos I don't really move furniture about, so that's why you end up with a slightly off-centre angle of the two bookcases, and it's because I'm not moving armchairs every single time I want to film a video because that's too much effort. This top shelf here is all my J.R.R. Tolkien books. I love The Lord of the Rings. It's a much loved series. I have a couple of his books here that I haven't read though, that I own, that I need to get to. I really am interested in reading a lot of the supplemental books for the Tolkien world, and I want to get to them at some point, but it's quite heavy reading, so you have to be in the right kind of mood to want to pick up a Lord of the Rings book. And then next over from that I have all my C.S. Lewis. If you didn't know, I'm Christian, and I really love and appreciate how C.S. Lewis writes about Christianity. And then moving on from that, I have a few other Christian books and a few editions of the Bible. The next shelf down, I have my Rick Riordan section. I love the Percy Jackson series, and I'm absolutely gutted that I never experienced his books and his world at the appropriate age. Like, it's aimed at 8 to 12, and I never read it. I first read the Percy Jackson series maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm so upset that I never experienced that as a child, because I love them as an adult, and I think I would have loved them even more as a younger reader. So yeah, so I fell in love with Rick Riordan, and I'm excited about the prospect of a TV series. But yeah, because the films were pretty poor. And then next to that I've got my two Stephen Fry books, because they're about Greek mythology and it made me quite happy that they sat together. And And then obviously I grew up with Harry Potter, so I have my wee section for that as well. Right, we're back on the left side. I'm doing this in a weird way. I'm going left, right, as I work my way down, as I move my tripod closer to the ground, just to confuse you. And then here we have a kind of mix. If you watched my organisational video, you'll know that I don't really have much of a rhyme or reason to how my books are organised. I organise by author and sort of by genre, but not really. So on the left here, I have all my hardback Deborah Harkness books. I love the Discovery of Witches series, and I just think they're really well done. And then a few honourable mentions. I've got here in the middle, I've got The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I absolutely love that book. I think it's fantastic. Another honourable mention would be The Cold is in Her Bones by Perinelli van Alsterdam. I'm not very good at saying that. Which is like a horror, kind of a horror story, which I think is really well done. I also have my fancy hardback edition of Little Women there, which is a beautiful copy. I really enjoy Little Women, and I think it's a great classic. The next shelf down, on the far left, we have the Mortal Instruments series, the first 6 books. I haven't continued on yet with reading that series. I read all those back to back, and I think I just kind of sickened myself a wee bit by reading them all in one go. It was good fun, but it's just not made me inclined to continue on reading the series just yet. In the middle, we've got the Chronicles of Pelennor by Alison Croghan. I have the old edition where the first book is The Gift, whereas I believe when you get it now it's called The Singing, I think. No, that's the last book. I don't even remember actually, that's bad. This is one of my favourite young adult series, and I'll leave a video link below where I recommend some of my other favourite young adult series. I really think they're worth a read. And then next to that I have my Anthony Horowitz books, and Alex Rider series and the Power of Five series, which both are very good young adult series as well. We're back over on the right side, and the top shelf you can see has a lot of my science fiction, and over the last year or so I've really fallen in love die hard with science fiction. And an honourable mention would be the Wayfarers series by Becky Chambers. I've talked about it enough on this channel, but I absolutely love it. The Martian by Andy Weir is another fantastic book. And again in the middle, the His Dark Materials series by Philip Pullman. Fantastic, highly recommend. The next series down, again on the far left, are some books I read when I was a young teenager. I haven't read them since, but I did love the books by G.P. Taylor. And I think I should reread them at some point, because I did love that world. In the middle I've got my Hunger Games books, and another honourable mention would be this little edition I have at the side, which is The Last Elf by Silvana del Mare, which is a translated work and is such a beautiful story. It's about the last elf, and it's about the last dragon, and the fantasy in this world, the storytelling, the bonds of friendship. It's just such a beautiful story, and I really wish that author Silvana del Mare had more of her books translated into English, because I believe she's written more, but that's the only one that's ever been translated into English, and it makes me quite sad that I can't read more of her books just now. Okay, this is at a slightly weird angle just because it's so close to the ground. This top shelf here is all vampire books. If you've been watching my series where I relive my teen vampire obsession, this is a lot of the books that I've made videos about on there, and maybe throughout the other shelves you can maybe see some other books that might give you a hint of other videos I'm filming for that series that'll be up and coming. I don't think I have to say much about these series. I'll leave that playlist link below if you're wanting to watch them. And in this bottom shelf here I have all my graphic novels, mostly the Saga series by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I love that series so much. It's absolutely brilliant. And I've also been reading the Sandman comics by Neil Gaiman. I only have the first 3 so far, but I want to eventually buy all of them because they're fantastic. And in that folder there, I'm doing evening classes, learning Scottish Gaelic just now. So that's all my work for that. And this last shelf here, you'll see that I don't have anything on the shelf below. That's an empty shelf just now. But this last shelf here is the bottom shelf with books on it on the right hand side, and this shelf is more of a mashup because this is all the books I own that I haven't read yet. So this is basically my physical TBR. In my organisational video that I did, I put them as much as I could in the order that I bought them from left to right, with ones on top that don't really fall into that category. And this is to try and highlight the books I've owned the longest and haven't gotten to reading yet. There's a fair few books on here that I don't know if I'll ever get to, because when I first started watching BookTube a couple of years ago, I did what everyone does and I went out and bought a few books. I didn't do it as badly as some of the others I've heard who'd bought hundreds of books. I went out and bought a dozen or so books that I thought I would like because they were highly recommended on BookTube. But thinking about it more and not ever picking them up or trying them out and realising they really aren't for me. So I don't know whether just to unhaul them at some point and finally let go books I've owned for a few years and I know I'm not going to get to. But yes, this is all the physical books. I have a lot of books on my Kindle as well that I haven't gotten to, but I don't really count them in the same way. So I limit myself to one shelf of unread books. I can't, and if ever this space is totally full, I can't buy any more books, and this is my way of trying to curb having a huge collection of unread books. So yeah, so let me know what ones you would recommend I pick up as soon as. There's a lot on here that I'm wanting to read, but I've not been in a very big fantasy mood at the moment. I've been really craving sci-fi, so that's what I've been kind of sticking to. So let me know. So yeah, that's my bookshelves. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions about any of the books I have on my shelves, or any books that you would really like me to read as soon as because you think I'll love them based on my reading tastes that you should maybe know by now, let me know. And let me know if you like this video. This is obviously a bit of a different one for me. And yeah, subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!